Hello, this is Sarah Andresiak with an update from the Capital Campaign team. This update was provided to the forum on November 17th, but the actual recording of that live forum was compromised. So we are recreating the content for your listening and viewing pleasure. Uh, I am Sarah Andresiak. I am reporting on behalf of the team of folks that you see on the slide here. This is a team of folks from across First Parish, different areas of interest and engagement, folks who've been around for a while, folks who are here more recently, folks in different stages of life. Um, we would just like to highlight that Peter Hussey and Jane O'Rourke, whose names are not in italics on this list, joined us for the summer sprint, and we are super grateful for their help on that. Reverend Kit Novotny and Reverend Nate Klug are with us every step of the way, participating in our meetings and providing their wisdom and insight. Before I launch into the update from the Capital Campaign team, I want to just take a moment to present the way that money works at First Parish in Lincoln. We are a self-sustaining church. What that means is that we do not receive money or people or dogma from any outside organization. What we are and what we become is up to all of us. How we engage with our hearts, our hands, our wallets, and all of it. Together, we support our annual stewardship drive every spring that funds our operating budget. And we come together also to raise funds for any more significant capital projects. What I want to take us through today is a history of the capital campaign, where it came from, the work we've done to date, which is really coming up with a vision for the capital campaign, some of the key opportunities we see in this vision, the timeline, next steps, and opportunities for congregational input. There are two related videos to highlight pieces of the content that were presented at the forum. One is a virtual tour of the parish house created by Sarah Kay. Just a preview that the parish house is a sort of where we are centering our vision for the campaign. And there's also some content on our minister's take on how the capital campaign can advance First Parish and Lincoln's vision. So in terms of the history of the campaign, where did it start? Where did it come from? So the capital campaign really grew out of the strategic planning effort, which in turn grew from the transition team launched during the interim ministry. That team really focused on clarifying our mission, vision, and values, and noted the real need for some strategic planning to really guide our work going forward. Once we called Reverends Kit and Nate, the strategic planning effort really kicked into high gear. That team worked on identifying strategic themes and investment needs. Those strategic themes are thinking about specific actions that we as a congregation can take in order to bring our mission, vision, and values to life. As part of that process, committees also identified investments needed to put those strategic themes in place. In April and May, many folks participated in a brainstorming session where we visioned what First Parish in Lincoln might look like in 2030. Lots of ideas came out of that, which were then prioritized in a forum. Armed with all sorts of ideas from the brainstorming, the actual capital needs that exist, some of deferred maintenance and some key areas to address in terms of our facilities, and armed with the vision of First Parish in Lincoln, the annual meeting in 2024, in June of 2024, tasked the capital campaign team with coming up with 3 different options for the campaign. And what we're doing today is reporting on our progress. To highlight the Spring Forward brainstorming session in April of 2024, we had about 50 folks come together in the Parish Hall auditorium and identified and brainstormed and really came up with ideas for investment in 4 different categories: staff and program, exterior, the sanctuary, and the parish house. We then put all those ideas on flip charts and did a sticky dot voting exercise where we tried to assess where the congregational enthusiasm was across all of those ideas. And there was enthusiasm for all of the ideas because there were sticky dots all over the place. We also supplemented that with a congregational survey to get input from folks who could not attend the forum. The June annual meeting, we were commissioned, as I mentioned, to come up with 3 capital campaign options. The idea is that those 3 options would be at 3 different price points. So that would allow the congregation to have a sense to come together to really vote on how big and how complicated a project we think we want to undertake. We expect to bring those capital campaign options to the congregation at the annual meeting in 2025. Where are we today? So what are we going to do today? Today we have a proposed vision for the campaign, and that came out of synthesizing congregational input, the strategic planning effort, and intensive interviews with staff to gather staff perspectives. Over the next 3 months, we will be seeking congregational input on this vision. We've got listening sessions that we're hosting. We'll be meeting with committees. If your committee would like to meet with the capital campaign team, please reach out. We will also issue an online survey to the entire congregation in January. We will be assessing the financial feasibility of the campaign through confidential conversations, and we will be facilitating an open community input session on the 5th of February. Please mark your calendars. That'll be in the evening. We expect to present 3 options for the congregation to choose which one they like at the annual meeting in June of 2025. And then public fundraising, that campaign will actually launch in the spring of 2026, so a while from now. And before we launch that campaign in the spring of 2026, we will have a congregational vote to affirmatively decide to go forward with the campaign. So how did we come up with this vision? Who are we right now and who can we become? Who and what can we become? These were the questions we were looking at. So the capital campaign really works in service to First Parish and Lincoln's vision. And Kit and Nate at the annual meeting in the June of 2024 articulated the vision this way. First Parish and Lincoln can become the flagship liberal or non-hierarchical church in our area. We can achieve that by excelling as a big spiritual tent, a home for young families, empty nesters, and elders to find community, a place where people can work for justice and give back. All around us, people are seeking what can be found right here at First Parish in Lincoln: spiritual inspiration, a sense of belonging and community, and opportunities to make a meaningful difference in the world. We see that by the energy in our sanctuary on Sundays. We see that as new members are joining us. It's palpable. We have a lot already that we can build on as we think about making that vision that Kit and Nate articulated a reality. I'm going to just highlight some of those. One is in terms of our physical assets. We have this beautiful sanctuary and Stearns Room, which really functions as our spiritual center. It's this gorgeous classic New England clapboard church with the tasteful addition of the Stearns Room. This is where we host most, but not quite all, of our worship services, where we have fellowship, and we have mid-scale community gatherings and committee meetings. The sanctuary was refurbished and the Stearns Room was rebuilt in the last capital campaign. We also have the Parish House, our second big building, which we envision could function as a campus center. If you think about the sanctuary building sort of being the academic buildings of a college campus, the campus center or student union could be what the Parish House functions as. It's an H.H. Richardson era stone building and a cinder block addition done in 1952. It houses most non-worship activities, our religious exploration program, office space, rehearsals for the choir, and large gatherings, community gatherings, and some worship services. Portions of the space are rented when they're not needed by First Parish. And the most recent attention was over a decade ago. And if you watch Sarah Kay's video, you can see some highlights of that. We are surrounded by history and natural beauty. We're right across Bedford Road from the Lincoln Library and Bemis Hall, respectively. We overlook beautiful conservation land and proximate to lots of walking trails, thanks to Arl Smith for the photographs. We have an engaged and growing body of members and friends. Bucking those national trends, we've welcomed 50 new members in the past 3.5 years, and that data actually is before New Members Sunday a couple of days ago. Many of these new members are young families. The time, talent, and financial stewardship of our members and friends powers all we do, and folks are really engaged. We have a gifted and energetic staff that is connecting us and our children to spirituality. We really benefit from the variety of voices, music, and service opportunities that they bring to us. So with all of that to work with, what else do we need to become who we want to be? That vision of being the flagship liberal or non-hierarchical church in our area. So the capital campaign team really thought about 3 questions. One is, what do we most need to do now? Of all the things we might do, what is most important to do next, to do now, to realize our vision and help us grow in membership, engagement, reputation, and impact? Of all those possibilities that were identified by the congregation through brainstorming, which makes sense to pursue through this campaign as opposed through other ways, and which seem most important to address now. So that first question is really thinking about our big vision, so from the big thoughts and working our way down. The second question is thinking about the things that have bubbled up from within and working our way up. And somewhere in the middle is a capital campaign vision. And then the third question is really, how do these bits come together into something that is a coherent, compelling vision for right now? And so what we thought about in terms of what we most need to do now is we recognize that we have in the Stearns Room and Sanctuary a spiritual center, a central gathering place for Sunday worship, beautiful light-filled space for fellowship, interaction with the surrounding natural beauty. That's part of why the Stearns Room is so compelling, is its relationship to the beauty surrounding us. But there's an awful lot of First Parish life that happens outside of that sanctuary, that Sunday worship. And so the question we are holding and dreaming about is, what if we updated the parish house to provide an inspiring campus center, a welcoming place offering programming to provide opportunities for connection, community, spirituality, and service. All of those things that we want to be doing, but maybe not in the hour and a half that we are in Sunday worship. Space for our growing religious exploration program that creates a sense of belonging and inspires the next generation to join us. And later in this video, Melissa Deck will talk a little bit about the RE program and the needs. Beauty, both in the spaces themselves and access to nature, that inspires people to show up, to linger, and to connect. And we envision an updated parish house could be complementary to, but not competitive with, Lincoln's Community Center. The Community Center is offering a different kind of programming than we envision would be offered in the parish house. And the Community Center is really focused on multi-generational space as opposed to intentionally intergenerational community. And maybe there are other things you imagine we could offer in an updated campus center. And that's part of what we're looking to hear from you over the next few months. So that was when we thought about the vision and we worked our way down. And then when we took all of the ideas that came from the congregation and thought about which of them should we include in the capital campaign, these ideas, as I mentioned, included ideas for the exterior space, for staff and programming space, for the parish house, and for the sanctuary. Um, some of these ideas were really focused on opportunities around staff and program that make more sense to fund through stewardship and the operating budget. They're not really a capital campaign raise. We thought about some of the ideas were around hiring a minister of social concerns, community engagement, or family life, for example. Um, to endow that position would, require raising about $2.5 million. It is likely, as we continue to grow, that there may be need for more ministerial staff, but it makes more sense to fund that through a growing stewardship drive rather than through a capital campaign. So we pulled those kinds of ideas off the list. And then what we did is we looked at, okay, we did have all those sticky dots. If we apply points for the sticky dots, which projects seem to be most exciting to the congregation? And on this slide, you see in the upper left of the slide, the projects that got the lowest number of points, and the lower right has the highest number of points. So you can really, I've bolded the projects that are related to the parish house. You can see there's a lot of excitement around parish house and exterior projects. Reinforcing this idea that we're having, this vision that's emerging around really focusing on the parish house for the capital campaign. I do want to point out there are a couple of sanctuary related projects that did receive a fairly high score. They aren't currently the focus of the capital campaign, but that's not to say they might not find their way to be a part of it. Some aspects of those projects I know are underway. For example, installing technology screen sound system for in-person and online. Anyway, addressing the technology challenges of the sanctuary. I know we're hiring or have hired new staff and continue to work to improve the technology for online access and sound systems in the sanctuary. So anyway, but from looking at the ideas and where there's enthusiasm, it really seems to focus on the parish house as well. So all of this comes together in a proposed vision for the campaign. We know that the wider world is thirsty. What can be found here in our big spiritual tent? We know that the parish house hosts most of our non-worship activities, and sometimes we worship there. And we believe that a revitalized parish house can become a spiritual and community destination, increasing membership, deepening engagement, and welcoming the next generation into the First Parish in Lincoln. We envision that the parish house can become a home for spirituality, intergenerational community, and to taking action for social justice and the living earth to help FPL become the flagship liberal church in this region.
This is Ann Forbes Van Nest, and I'll be highlighting some of the basic needs of the parish house. You've been given a glimpse into the possibilities for our future, but there are several essential parts of the parish house that need attention now. For those of you who are in the parish house regularly or have taken a tour recently, you've seen how tired and worn it is. This building is an important part of our history. We want to show that we care deeply about the memories that it holds, that we are good stewards of what has been given to us by those who came before. As a new member of the church, I can say that this is a special community that welcomes with open arms. The parish house itself, however, is not the most welcoming. The steps we need to take immediately will give the parish house welcoming arms of its own. Examples include the handicap ramp drips ice. Our bathrooms are tired, don't work for large events, and are not fully accessible. In fact, most of the building is not fully accessible. The lighting in the auditorium is insufficient. Our wonderful choir uses the space regularly, and reading sheet music in the dim light can be a challenge, remedied by using a headlamp. The entrances are dark and uninviting. The cinder block walls are cold. All the colors are tired. The rugs are worn. Storage is woefully inadequate, resulting in unsafe use of fire exits and hallways for storage, and areas behind doors have also been taken over. Outdoor signage is needed to help people know where to park, especially when the front lot is full, which of the 3 possible entrances to use, and what our wonderful outdoor spaces have to offer. The Wi-Fi doesn't work well in most of the rooms. There's no modern HVAC. Although the playground safety issues have recently been addressed, our children need the benefits of an upgraded area. Our landscaping has great potential to provide those welcoming arms from the outside and enhance the feeling that we do care deeply about our very special place.
In addition to outdated furniture, finishes, and tech, the current layout of the parish house has challenges of inconvenient adjacencies, poor circulation between public spaces, and lack of functionality in some spaces. For example, the office wing lacks a private, soundproof space for ministerial pastoral conversations. The meeting rooms are inflexible in their furnishings and lack updated technology. The parish house has 3 small meeting rooms, one large one for 40 people, and an auditorium for 200, but lacks a medium-sized space for 15 to 25. The auditorium lacks modern tech and audio, thus making streaming impossible for First Parish services in the round, and educational programs such as Food for Thought. In addition to community programs like Live in Lincoln Center, are challenged by current lighting, tech, and audio. The corridors are dark. Some rooms double as corridors. For example, this photo of the Donaldson room. So circulation from the original building to the office wing is confusing, right through the Donaldson room. This photo also shows that the building lacks an inviting, well-signed lobby and waiting area for guests at either entrance. This is the east entrance facing Bedford Road. Visitors are challenged to know where to go or where to wait for someone. With the background of these challenges, it is clear that we need to improve the parish house, and the goal is to better serve our congregation and our community. The process we've gone through so far has looked at our available space, how it's used, and problems room by room. The team interviewed staff, committees, and relevant volunteers to hear about their problems working in the parish house and what they see as opportunities. And now we are all beginning to think about what kinds of spaces we need for the future. So, in addition to upgrading, we need to reconfigure the spaces to bring more activities and programming and people into the parish house. Create spaces that better meet our needs, create spaces that are inviting to encourage lingering and engagement. We want to reconfigure the parish house to inspire staff and visitors with these beautiful spaces, to amplify the beauty of the auditorium for worship and community gatherings, and to serve the needs of religious education, which you'll hear about next. From our work so far, it appears that the parish house probably has sufficient space to meet our goals and vision. So we will continue working with you on how we can remake our spaces to reflect our vision and programs for the future.
Hi, my name is Melissa Deck, and I will be speaking on behalf of the Religious Exploration Challenges and Opportunities in the Parish House. You may have noticed that there's been a steady increase in the number of families participating in the First Parish Religious Exploration programs. To best serve this number of children and the age ranges, it is important to have age-appropriate programming. There are currently 4 groups being served, which is including the nursery, which is ages infant to 5, Little Owl, which is kindergarten and 1st grade, Middle RE, which is 2nd grade through 5th grade, and Interfaith Breakfast Club, which is our oldest group, which is 6th graders and above. These different groups are best served with dedicated, separate space to create a sense of consistency and comfort. Ideally, we would have 4 to 5 dedicated RE spaces to best serve the current demographics of the RE program. Shown here in the graph, where the diameter of the circle corresponds to the number of children in attendance across all age groups, and the x-axis is the date, and this is an 8-week sample of the 2024 First Parish Church year, and the y-axis is the number of rooms being used. The RE program groupings change, sometimes weekly, so flexibility in the space is also desired to enable large and small group formats. The designated RE spaces can be utilized at other times by other groups, but the RE leaders spend significant time and mental resources on logistics that could easily be solved through space that is one floor and more dedicated. Most critically, as we look to serve and support the younger generations, we'd like to foster more of a sense of belonging for our children. Most parents want our children to understand First Parish as an extension of our home, of our families. We want them to feel cherished, comforted, and safe to grow, to see First Parish and the parish house as a home to share their thoughts and express themselves in their spiritual and emotional journeys. The deep desire is for the parish house to provide an opportunity for our children to put down roots and showcase all of their beautiful shoots that our congregation is nurturing. We hope a byproduct of upgrading the parish house will be the opportunity for our RE programs to intermingle with other adults in the congregation, improving the flow and the open spaces to socialize. We hope we will encourage the congregation to get to know our children, and similarly, our children to get to know them. Also, we hope that improving the welcoming space will encourage new or visiting families to engage more with the programming and existing member families.
Hi, this is Rosemary Lloyd. There is so much happening within the walls of our spiritual community. We believe there are people seeking what we offer, a place of belonging where together we can make meaning in a changing world and find avenues for service, growth, and connection. We also believe we can make it easier to find the way into this community. We can enhance our intention to be welcoming with clearly marked open doors, signage, and outdoor spaces for spontaneous intergenerational interaction. Preparing to speak about this with you, we tried looking at the outside and entrances of our beloved parish house with the kind of fresh eyes we put on when company is expected for the holidays. Let's look together. Well, there is a sign that says enter at 16 Bedford Road, but it's only visible if you are traveling north. This reminds me of the Boston adage regarding street signage. If you don't know where you're going, maybe you don't belong here, which is not the message we intend. If you do find your way into our driveway and are lucky enough to find a parking spot, let's look for the entrance. One could go up the ramp or climb the stairs. There's a door. Where does it say enter? Welcome, or even First Parish in Lincoln. Well, I see that sign now. Phew, you made it in through the north entrance. Oh, this is cozy. Oh, please, just ignore the bathrooms. Unless, of course, you need one. Then welcome. Do I go down this corridor to find a reception desk or someone who can tell me where to go? Oh, there are some nice signs. Which one is the classroom I go to pick up my child from RE, I wonder? Let's try down here. Oh, hello, mops. If you've been part of our First Parish community for a while, you have figured most of this out. And we are aware that first impressions can be so, impressive. So let's go back outside. Perhaps you are heading to the parish house from the sanctuary. Hello, playground. Can I cut through here to get in through this fence? Probably don't go in this door. Or this one. The no sidewalk to this entrance is a good clue. There's a sidewalk. Maybe I go in here. Oh, no, I guess not. It's not true that this door is never open. We do have services and festivities here. So come on in. You can hang your coat just there and squeeze in through one of these doors? Well, if you aren't too early, you'll figure out to go where the people are. If that lovely red door is locked, just follow the instructions for the deliveries. Keep going around to the ramp or the stairs. Oh, now I see the enter sign. All joking aside, no one has any intention of inadvertently pushing people away. We hope to improve our exterior welcome with a vision of improved entrances, signage, landscaping, outdoor active spaces, welcoming transitional space between the sanctuary and the parish house, and creating safe, welcoming play areas and seating to take advantage of our beautiful location, viewscapes, woodlands, and gardens at the entrance to the heart and soul of Lincoln.
I just want to take a few more minutes to lay out the next steps for this capital campaign. Where are we going from here? So on this very busy slide, across the top, we see month by month from where we are now, November of 2024, until the wrap up of the public campaign, which we hope will be in May of 2026. Over the next few months, in that top bar, you can see really congregational input is a lot of what we're doing. We're doing listening sessions. We've got an online survey. We've got the February 5th input session. At the same time, we are doing the fundraising feasibility study. We are working as a team to develop preliminary options for the parish house, which will be further refined by an architect. We hope also during these next few months that we will be hiring the facilities committee will be overseeing the hiring of some engineers to do a review of the facilities. We suspect there are some important facilities upgrades that will be required that will need to be funded through the capital campaign, and we want to get a handle on what those are and what those might cost. Going forward, we expect just to highlight the selection of the option at the May annual meeting. So the June 2025 select option. We'll be presenting those 3 capital campaign options and the congregation will be voting. After that, we will be doing more detailed design work on that selected option, doing some quiet fundraising just to make sure we can raise the funds that are needed. There will be a vote to launch the capital campaign in June of 2026 and beginning the public-facing campaign in concert with stewardship in 2026, the spring of 2026. So to focus for what's really next, there's some input opportunities over the next few months. You can find in your parish news information about our input and listening sessions on December 2nd, December 13th, 14th, and 19th. There will be an online congregational survey in January and that input session February 5th in the evening. We have a couple of community specific input sessions scheduled. If your committee would like to have some one-on-one time with capital campaign team, please do reach out and we will make that happen. I want to thank you for listening to this. I want to encourage you to listen to Kit and Nate's take on the capital campaign and also check out Sarah Kay's video on the parish house. And in closing, I just want to remind you that this work and all work we do is work we do together. The work of envisioning, planning, funding, becoming, and growing. I hope that you will join this effort, give us your input, participate, and we can do this. Thank you.